Hi, everyone, and welcome to S5U. We're going to be talking about advertising on LinkedIn today, and hopefully we'll have better luck with PowerPoint than we did in the last session. I apologize to everybody who stuck with it through the last session when PowerPoint was being a little bad for us, but hopefully this will work out and we'll be able to make it through this session okay. So let's hop on in. As always, feel free to ask questions if you have any. You can do that either in the chat or the Q&A. And of course, we'll have a Q&A session at the end if you want to save your questions till then too. But I love answering them as we go as well, so feel free to do that. So let's just do a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about kind of the pros and cons of LinkedIn advertising. What type of campaigns work on LinkedIn? You know, what kind of businesses should be looking into this. The two different kinds of ads that you can do on LinkedIn. And we're going to talk about some real world examples and show you some ongoing campaigns that we've got going on right now. So some of the strengths of LinkedIn advertising, here's some of the pros. I just thought this photo was so funny because who gets a tattoo of LinkedIn, right? But they do have several strengths there. So the biggest one is that you're going to be able to connect to professionals. Right? LinkedIn is a professional network. It's going to be business professionals who are going to have the expertise that you're looking for. So if you're looking to fill a job or you're a B2B type business that's looking for a specific profession to do business with, this is going to be a really powerful tool for you. Oh, sorry, that got a little weird. It's got very specific targeting. You can target, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can target by here in a minute, but you know, you can do industry, you can do specific job positions, seniority, lots of different things like that. You can know the exact size of your audience. LinkedIn is really good at telling you exactly how many people it has in that job title or position that you can try and connect with. And then the self-service tool is fairly easy to use so that you don't need a third-party provider to do this for you. Obviously, here at Socialfy, we do run these campaigns for people if they want us to, because they can be a little confusing, and if you don't want to take the time to do it yourself, we can do that for you. But it is something that you can do on your own if you'd like to as well. And really, LinkedIn is the best place to advertise if you have a very specific need that you're trying to fill. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit more in a minute. Oh, looks like we might have a question. What if you have a service to offer? Yeah, that's great too. So if you're trying to promote a service, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So if you offer a service and are trying to connect with professionals, also a really great place to advertise. So the cons of LinkedIn advertising is it does have a few drawbacks. The ads have some very strict limits. They are very succinct. You know, you're only allowed to have a headline and it can only be so many characters. I think it's 25 characters, 75 characters of text. Very limiting in that regard. So not a ton of options there. I don't know why my PowerPoint is just being weird today. I'm sorry, you guys. It's not good for if you have a large number of campaigns that you're running. So, and we're talking like a whole lot of campaigns. It can be confusing if you're trying to run more than like 20 campaigns at a time. Probably if you're a small business, you're not going to be doing that. But if you are a really big business that you're trying to target different, you know, maybe you're a job recruiter or something, you're trying to target lots of different positions, it can get really clunky and difficult to manage that many of campaigns all at once. It's a lot more expensive than some of the other social media channels for advertising. So those are kind of the drawbacks. Oh, and my closing thought there is that it's really not the place to advertise if you're trying to reach a large, diverse audience. So part of what we do when we start talking to people about doing advertising as part of our target package that we offer is we sit down and talk with them about who they are trying to reach and what the goal they're trying to accomplish is. And then we try and decide, like, is a Facebook ad going to help them more? Or would something like Google AdWords be more helpful? Or would they be able to get what they need through LinkedIn advertising? And LinkedIn advertising, I would say, is probably the one we recommend the least often. Just because it is expensive and it's very specific. If you're trying to reach a broad spectrum audience, Facebook is going to be better for that, okay? So we'll talk a little bit more about that here with this example. So what type of campaigns work? So we're going to talk about this guy, Colin Ray. He's a country singer. He had a hit a while back called, it was like back in the 80s, called Love Me. It's all about if you get there before I do, don't give up on me. I won't sing it for you. I won't subject you to that. Anyway, feel free to look him up. But so he's a country singer, and he doesn't really tour so much anymore, but he wanted to start booking corporate events. This is kind of where he's found his niche, he does these corporate events and like fundraisers or company parties or whatever kind of events that people would need an entertainer for. And so we put together an ad campaign for him on LinkedIn. And what we did is we targeted event planners who are looking for entertainment for corporate events. Again, very specific. Now, if Colin was looking to do something else, say he was just trying to get people to come to his concerts or something, or he had, a tour schedule, something like a Facebook ad is going to be much more effective. If we're just trying to get people to buy tickets to something, that's going to work a lot better. But because this is what he wanted to do, he knows that this is his bread and butter, is these corporate events. He wants to get more of them. So we put together this ad campaign that's specifically targeting these event planners that can help book him as entertainment. So they spent $1,200 for the year, for a year's worth of LinkedIn advertising, and we got their price down to $5 per click to click through to their website. Oh, and half my slide is gone again. I'm so sorry. PowerPoint is eating my slides. Anyway, the gist of it here is that they were able to get that price really far down. And then the cool thing was the last effort that they had done is that they purchased this email marketing list from a third-party vendor kind of thing. And they had bought that for $2,200 and sent it out. And it had a 0.4% open rate, which is, not very good. And it just didn't really help that much. So for $1,000 less for the year, we were able to get their price down to $5 per click. And he ended up booking, like his year's worth of events through this ad campaign. So really powerful tool that way. And again, really specific. That's where it comes in. LinkedIn is great if it's specific. So if you're, say, a wedding caterer and you want to, get people to use your catering service or something, this might not be the best for you. If you just want to get the general public, anybody who's interested in a wedding, something like a Facebook ad or a Google AdWord might be better for you. If, however, you are a caterer who is specifically wanting to work with different event venues and have them pick you as one of their preferred vendors, LinkedIn is going to be awesome. So that's where, that's kind of the difference. I hope that helps you guys understand a little bit the mind shift there that's going on. Really specific is where you want to be for LinkedIn. So let's talk about the types of ads you can do on LinkedIn. There are two of them. You've got this sponsored update. You can see this is from our Social 5 page. This is where you can kind of build your brand credibility and sort of make yourself into like a thought leader. And I would say that this equates most closely to a boosted post on Facebook. So you're paying a little bit of money to make sure that this blog or article or whatever it is shows up in people's news feeds on LinkedIn. And some of the things you can do here is you can promote a blog, you can promote a post, a status update, and really just build your brand credibility. It's an opportunity to show off that you know what you're talking about and that you're an intellectual leader in your industry here. And they're very, very popular. Again, kind of like a Facebook boosted post, you can throw a little bit of money on that and it'll show up on a lot of people's news feeds, and it's very effective. The other thing that you can do that we tend to do more of is these LinkedIn ads. And unfortunately, they're really small, and so this is kind of a grainy picture here. But so they're more expensive, but they are a lot more specific. This is where we get into the really specific targeting. And some of the things you can do are specific job titles, seniority, geographic area, industry. We're going to get into some more of those here in just a minute. Really cool stuff. It's kind of creepy how specific you can get on these LinkedIn ads. But the cool part is that while you're doing these ads, you can choose whether you want to do a pay per click. So every time someone clicks through to the website, usually we can get that down to about $3 or $4 per click, which again is way more expensive than it is on something like Google AdWords. Those there we're talking, under $1 per click most of the time. So this is a lot more expensive. Or you can get it by number of thousands of people who see the ad. So, for every 1,000 people who see the ad, it could be $5 to $7. And, it kind of depends on which one. We always recommend, start with the lowest number you can and see how it goes. And you'll see for some of these ads that we've done, they're a lot more expensive than that per click. But the thing that you're paying for here, and this is what makes it worthwhile, is that each of those leads that you get through clicking through your website is going to be hopefully someone who's really qualified and really matches what you're looking for. So I'm going to take you guys out here for a second over to LinkedIn. And can you guys all see that okay on my desktop and all my messy screenshots in the background? So here's our LinkedIn page. You can see here's a sponsored update. You can see how many people. This is when we haven't sponsored. So it shows its organic reach. It made 83 impressions. It didn't get any clicks. It had someone interact with it. Andy Hawkins said he liked it and everything. So it's got not a great engagement rate. If I wanted to, I could hit sponsor update. And yeah, I know how to sponsor updates. Sorry. And it will take me over here to the LinkedIn Campaign Manager. And I'm going to come over here. I've actually got this pulled up already, so we'll pull it up over here. So this is going to be our campaign manager for Social 5. And again, we don't run a lot of LinkedIn ad campaigns because usually Facebook or Google AdWords is a better option. But here you can see all the different campaigns we're doing. A bunch of these have ended, so that's why they don't have any data here. But I want to look at this Supreme Cable company, okay? This is a company that we do ads for. They make electrical harnesses and equipment that way. So kind of, again, kind of an obscure thing that like not the average consumer is gonna buy. That's why a Facebook ad doesn't make sense for these guys. We're not gonna advertise on Facebook for electrical harnesses to the general population. We wanna really target specific people. So you can see down here, they've gotten, on the most recent campaign we're running for them, we do an ad campaign for them every month. They've gotten 14 clicks. Their average click-through rate is not huge. It's 0.13% because it's targeted 108,000 people, right? So that's a lot. But they've gotten 14 clicks through. It's about $20 per click. That's pretty expensive for a pay-per-click price. But they've spent $288 so far to get 14 leads. That works out to be pretty decent as far as leads go. I mean, that's better than you would get from like a lead generation service or anything like that. And the thing that's cool about that is that we've built their ad campaign so that it's really specifically targeting those people so that it's not just like idle people clicking on their website. So here's the performance they've had recently for this particular ad. They've had 11 clicks and $155 spent. They're spending $20 a day on this ad campaign. And you can see how it's gone. This is, before we started this campaign, and you can see where it's gone up and down and things like that. You can see how it's been created and everything, all that fun stuff. You can see which ads they're running, what image we've got. And again, this is where you don't have a ton of room to play around. You have a small image for LinkedIn. You've got where you want them to go, which is usually going to be your website, and then just a little bit of information about, what they get to do. So we had to write this for them. We supply OEM, EMS, small ventures, mid-sized firms, and Fortune 500 companies. This other one, manufacturing of wire harnesses, cable, and electromechanical assemblies. Really specific, right? This is not something that the general public is going to buy off of a Facebook ad. And it looked like we had a question come through here. And Vic, this is a really great question. A pay per day charge and a pay per click charge for the ads. No, the amount that you set per day is what they're using for the pay per click. So we would say our budget is $20 a day and we want to see how many we can get. And so like yesterday, the reason it's funny because when I was looking at this ad campaign the other day, it only was $10, averaging $10 a click. But yesterday they only got 1 click, so that, or like the last 2 days only got 1 click. So that made it more like $20 a day. And so it jacks up the price a little bit. So I'm expecting that will go down again as an average price per click. So you can set either a daily budget or you can say per day, per click, I want to pay this much, but they won't go over that. So you don't need to pay 2 times, I guess is what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Anyway, so then let's look at their audience here. And this is really cool. So, we said, what location do we want to target? They ship all over the United States, so that's great. But this is the cool part. You know, you can see exactly how many members of LinkedIn they think they're going to have. And then we can go through and target all these specific industries that they work in. Defense and space, computer hardware, semiconductors, renewables and environment, military, broadcast media. You know, all of these different areas where they have folks who buy their product. Then we can come down here and target the job titles in those industries that we're looking for. So we can find someone who's a senior supply chain manager for a transportation trucking company, right? Really specific. That's going to be the person who needs their product. It's not going to be that anybody, you know, again, if someone like me sees their stuff on LinkedIn, even if we're connected, I'm not going to buy an electrical harness. I just don't have any need for something like that. So it's really awesome because you can really target to the specific job title of whatever it is that you want to buy, or who you're targeting. Oh, I've got a question of whether this is being recorded, and yes, it is. The other thing that you can target to zero in on your ideal audience is it's got all these skills. You can see where the black ones are the ones that they've picked. So you can do job, you know, company size, company name. And you can pick even more specific things there. The gender groups, you know, this is a really good one. Like if there's different groups on LinkedIn of, you know, because people form different groups of like, you know, the industry of communications professionals or something like that. You can target that group. So really, really specific there. I know that sounds like, you know, $20 a lead. That sounds probably really expensive, but these guys are super happy with this ad campaign because it's getting them more leads and again, qualified leads than they would normally get through a regular ad campaign. So again, this is where it gets really, it is expensive and it is it's kind of time consuming, but it can be really powerful if you have a specific target in mind. So this is one of those things where I'd really recommend it to folks who are, you know, who have maybe something that's kind of a little more esoteric, a really specialized skill or something like that. It's not going to be something that's going to perform well in a general ad on Facebook. All right. Well, with that in mind, I'm going to open it up for any questions that you guys may have. Anybody have any other questions that we haven't answered already? I know this can be a little bit confusing, and again, it's kind of not the ad campaign that works best for everybody, but it is really powerful and can really be helpful. All right. So, any other questions? Oh, it looks like we've got a couple. Oh, sorry. All right. Okay, so good question here. Are there specific industries that have better success with LinkedIn ads? And I wouldn't say it's necessarily industries that, it's just basically going to be whether you have something that's very specialized or more accessible to the general public. If you're something like a restaurant, you don't need a LinkedIn ad campaign, right? Because you can market to the general public. However, if you're a restaurant that's trying to market for catering businesses and you want to start going after those corporate event planner type people, then this is going to be a better option for you. So it's not necessarily the industry that helps, it's the goal that you have in mind. And that's part of why a lot of people like to use a third party like Social5 to run these type of ads, is that, you know, we always sit down with folks and it's kind of becomes this existential navel gazing question of what exactly are you trying to accomplish with this advertising? You know, do you want to increase likes on your Facebook page? Are you trying to convert leads over to your website? You know, things like that. Some of the people that we've done stuff for on LinkedIn advertising that we've had really good success with is like corporate recruiter businesses, you know, headhunter type firms who are going after specific candidates and things like that and wants people who meet a specific job criteria. They can go after them and, you know, they know that the person that they're contacting is going to have all those skills that they want. So it works really well if you are trying to recruit someone for a job too. If you've got a job ad that you want to place, super, super effective that way. So, and again, you know, you're maybe not going to reach a giant pool of candidates, but you're going to reach those candidates who are really qualified for that position that you're trying to fill. So I would say the specificity is the really key thing here is if you have a really specific goal in mind, think back to that country singer, right? Who he didn't want to book tours at just nightclubs or events or anything. He knows that he's made a strategic decision that these corporate events are what's going to do best for him. And so that's kind of what we think about. And again, if this is something that you're interested in doing and pursuing some advertising, you know, feel free to give us a call, and we can, as you know, if we get that package going, we have what's called the Target package. That's our advertising package, and you can do either Facebook, LinkedIn, or Google AdWords. And our strategists can help you sit down and figure out which one of those is going to be best for you and will work best for your business. So again, LinkedIn doesn't always work for everybody, but depending on what your goal is, it can be a really powerful tool. So, all right, well, with that in mind, I'll go ahead and end this session, and we'll hopefully see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Oh, looks like we got one more question, sorry. Oh, no, just got it. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you all so much, and we'll see you soon.